Yeah, let's get to our guy. Is Spofford on?
He is joining us now on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law from Packers.com. Mike Spofford. Mike, thanks so much for jumping on today.
Hey, you bet. Thanks for having me. Good to see you guys.
If you want to come to dinner, you can come to dinner too.
Yeah, sounds good. How you doing, Mace?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How's it going up there in Green Bay? Everything obviously settled back into the week. You know, I know how these weeks go. It's like you lick your wounds on Monday and Tuesday, and then you reset, and it's back to work. So we are over that hump. It is moving towards the weekend. NFL football is back tonight. So just tell us how this week has felt. Kind of where guys' heads are at. What kind of conversations you've had, and just kind of give us a holistic approach, and then we'll dive down deep into the weeds.
Yeah, I mean, you've been through weeks like this, Mason, where you let a game get away that the team shouldn't have lost, and the most important thing that all the players have been talking about is kind of looking in the mirror, and you always ask, okay, what could I have done better, in order to help the team win the game? And the Packers defense is playing great right now, but that doesn't mean they're sitting in the locker room saying, hey, the loss is on like everybody else or whatever. That's not how this team operates, and that's the sign of a good team. And so, I mean, these guys are looking inward. They're definitely not happy about how things went, but you can't dwell on things. It's like, yeah, you have to learn from it, but you got to put it aside. You got to move on. There's another game coming up, and you're going down to face a Dallas team that, really took one on the chin, quite frankly, in Chicago last week. The Bears were 0-2, and they really took it to the Cowboys. And the Cowboys this week might be a lot like the Bears were last week, and the Packers have to be ready for that.
Yeah, I totally agree, Spoff. I feel like the great teams that we had there in Green Bay, it was that same way, right? It's like, all right, defense gives up a drive and you happen to lose a game at the end of regulation. You always heard the offensive guys or special team, like everyone was always just like, hey, I could have done this better in this, this one play in the first quarter or whatever. And like, whenever you have a team that is that mindset, like good things are ahead of them. So it's really good to hear that that's kind of, what's going on there in the building. Something that I want to dive into, I saw this stat, like I was like looking back at like the past, matchups against the Cowboys. In the last like 4 matchups or so, I mean, the winner has scored over 30 plus points, and they've been high scoring on both sides. I mean, both teams have scored quite a few points in these matchups. Do you think that's going to be the case on Sunday night, or do you think this defense is going to be able to contain and hold this Cowboys offense at bay?
I mean, I certainly like the chances of Green Bay's defense, changing that narrative a little bit in terms of the way these games have gone. And the Cowboys are going to be without CeeDee Lamb. Obviously, they still have George Pickens at wide receiver. Jake Ferguson is catching a lot of passes for Dak Prescott at tight end. But the way Green Bay's defense is playing right now, I mean, look, the Browns scored 13 points, and 7 of those were on a 4-yard touchdown drive. I mean, the Browns weren't going to find the end zone last week if they had to go the length of the field. And unfortunately, things just didn't work out, because of the timing of the turnover and all that kind of stuff. Green Bay's defense is really, really strong. Now, on the other side of things, Dallas's defense is struggling, and the Packers haven't been clicking on all cylinders on offense yet. Not to say that 27 points against the Lions and 27 points against the Commanders is anything to sneeze at. I mean, those are still some pretty productive days. But I think coming out of those 2 games, the Packers still felt like they left a bit out there offensively. They could have, cracked that 30-point barrier in each of those games, and it didn't quite happen. So the Packers dealing with their own injuries on the offensive line. And, you don't have Christian Watson or Jaden Reed at wide receiver right now. We all know about those things. But I think the Packers offense is due for one of those breakout games. And if Dallas's defense doesn't get some things squared away, it could come Sunday night.
Yeah, we got Mike Spofford on the Mason Crosby Show. You can find him at Packers.com. I said it earlier, and just, being in those locker rooms and, being around Aaron and stuff, you could just kind of get a feeling whenever it was like, all right, they're going to put up some points this week. A plan seems in place. Everybody's kind of clicking in practice. And then, you're facing a team like the Dallas Cowboys where you saw the Chicago Bears just air them out, right?
Yes.
And just like,
exactly.
like run them down the field. So kind of what I said earlier in the week was, in my opinion, especially now on this side of it, I would have never said in the locker room, it's just like, all right, plod along, right? It's like, do your thing. But on this side of it, I'm like, I feel like if they don't score over 30 points in this game, then like they've somewhat underachieved offensively just with what the matchup looks like. And now you had Matthew Golden finally get behind somebody to make a catch. So do you feel that way? Like this is that opportunity for this offense to put 30 plus points and have a full, like just a really good productive day out there?
Yeah, I think so. And I think there's a couple of keys to that. I mean, one, we've seen the Packers have been struggling to run the ball. We've seen defenses, really keying on Josh Jacobs. And I think it's incumbent upon, Jordan Love and company with that passing game to find that rhythm, to get things going, make the defenses pay for how much attention they're paying to Josh Jacobs. And then you can get the running game going behind that. That first game against Detroit, Jordan Love throws, for 160 some yards, whatever it was in the first half with 2 touchdowns. And Josh Jacobs only has 8 yards at halftime, but then he rushes for 58 in the second half against Detroit's defense. That it seems to be that's the formula for getting, kind of all facets of the offense going. That being said, it's what makes, to me, the key to this game for Green Bay offensively, because I think the Packers are going to move the ball pretty regularly against this Cowboys defense, but they're going to have to finish drives. I mean, you've seen these games, Mace, because there are times where you got trotted out there to kick a field goal way more times than anybody wanted because the offense is moving the ball, but then something bogs you down and you can't finish a drive and you have to settle for 3. The Packers
always settle for the kickers. I mean, just those games were always the best whenever all the coaches were mad and like you could tell the fans were angry and you're like, yep, I'm going out to do my job. Everyone hates that I'm out here right now, but this is fine. Right. I'll go out there and do it.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. I mean,
I know.
You can't have this game be the one where suddenly there's, you're bogging down in the red zone and you're not able to complete, the productive drives the way that you want to. So sure. I think finishing drives is going to be key here because I do think the Packers are going to move the ball against the Cowboys. And if they finish drives, they absolutely, should be able to crack that 30-point barrier.
Well, I wanted to ask real quick about Josh Jacobs and follow up on that because I know he was limited in practice. Is that just veteran rest? Is he okay to go? And what does it mean for the offensive line to get him going as well? Because I think part of him getting going also means that the offensive line is blocking better than they've been doing in the run game.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I haven't been given any indications that, that there are any issues with Jacobs as far as his availability this week.
Good.
So,
Good.
But when it comes to the guys up front, I mean, the Packers are dealing with some injuries up there. They're trying to plug guys in, find the right combinations. And I thought the offensive line was really, really good in the first 2 games of the season. They were at full strength in week 1 against Detroit, not so much full strength in week 2 against Washington. And it didn't, seem to matter all that much. I thought things were pretty solid. They got challenged big time by a really good Cleveland defensive front. And they're not happy with how they played. They know the film didn't look good. And, that goes back to, again, kind of everybody looking in the mirror as to, all right, what are the things that I need to fix? What are the things that I can do better? I expect this Packers offensive line, no matter who it is that's out there, depending on the injuries, I think they're going to have this is that bounce back type of performance because,
nice.
That's a bunch of prideful guys, and they know that what they put on film in Cleveland is not who they are. It's not what they want people to perceive them to be. It's not who they were in the first 2 weeks of the season. They had a bad game and they know it and they want to correct it.
Yeah, it felt like they're in Cleveland. It was like the perfect storm, right? I mean, Zach Tom tried to go, gets one play, goes out. So then you bring in Jordan Morgan and then Banks goes out. And then it's like now it's a shuffle on the front. And you could just see, like, you almost felt like even like Elton Jenkins at center there. Like once you scramble and you move all those, I think a veteran's like initial mindset is like, I need to support and do more. And it felt like he started kind of reaching and trying to help his guards and do some things. And Cleveland just had a great plan. They were looping inside guys. Mason Graham had that guy's playing fantastic this year. So it was just kind of a perfect storm. And they just, unfortunately, you can look at it and you can learn from it. You hope you learn from a win, but they'll learn a lot from this loss and how that ended up unfolding. The question that we had to start the show, and we're going to try to do this on every Thursday as we're heading into the weekend of a slate of games. What stat do you want to see kind of on the stat line for this Packers team on Sunday night? What would jump off the page for you, and you'll just kind of be like, all right, that's what needed to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be the red zone production. I mean, if you're talking going, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5 in the red zone, that's where you want to be offensively. If you go only 2 out of 4 in the red zone, or 1 out of 3 or something like that, there's still going to be too many questions about where things are on offense. Like I said before, I think I expect the Packers to be able to move the ball against the Cowboys. Are they going to finish drives on the road? Because, that's, everything's a lot harder when you're on the road. And while I do think there will be a decent contingent of Packers fans in the stands, the Cowboys fans are going to show up. They're going to be loud. They're going to try to make it difficult. And when you get in close, you got to be able to punch it in and not let them, make you kick field goals.
Yeah, Jerry Jones probably giving tickets away just to try to get as many Cowboys fans in the stands so that they cheer really loud and make it hard on Micah Parsons as much as possible. But, I was thinking about just that side of the ball, like the special team side of the ball. And you're talking about the red zone, like Brandon Aubrey for the Cowboys, unbelievable.
Stud.
So you do not want to get into a defensive battle kicking competition, if you will, with a guy that can kick, 65-yarders in his sleep, it feels like, because especially there in Dallas, and I know McManus could probably do the same there, but it's just like, you don't want that to be like what, determines a game like this, especially whenever, it's been shown Giants scored a ton of points against the Cowboys. Bears scored a ton of points against the Cowboys. This offense really needs to get right this week. Finally, honestly, against the worst defense they've played so far. So it's a big opportunity for them. And then let's just talk about the defense. Obviously, we know how great they are, but have you talked to Micah this week about what this feels for him going back to Dallas? I know he probably has a ton of emotion, a lot of feelings about it. So what have you heard from him that kind of sticks out this week in his first return back to Dallas?
Yeah, Micah talked to reporters yesterday after practice about, just the whole thing of going back to Dallas and all that. And quite frankly, the sense I got from him, I mean, he's not trying to lie to anybody necessarily or downplay anything, but the sense I got from him is like, he doesn't want to talk about all of the hype and whatever emotions might be involved. He just wants to go down there and play the game and get the game started. I mean, it's about let's get through all of this and walk out there and play football. I mean, I thought his best line, was that, hey, once the game starts, who's going to be worried about any kind of a trade, right? I mean, yes, the announcers are going to be talking about it, and it's going to be a storyline throughout the game. But to the players on the field, whether you're talking about, Micah trying to sack Dak Prescott or Elton Jenkins trying to block Kenny Clark, I mean, once you get those first couple of plays under your belt, then it really is still just another game. And that's the mindset that will set in eventually, even if there might be a lot of emotions and a lot of, kind of unexpected, or, the whole situation was unexpected for Parsons, right? I mean, a month ago, he didn't think this is the situation he would be in. So I don't really think, he knows how to prepare for it necessarily, like mentally and emotionally. And that's why it's like, hey, let's get to the game. Let's get it kicked off. I want to get out on the field. I want to run around. I want to hit somebody and just get into playing football. and then that helps to block out the rest of it.
Mike Spofford joining us here on the excuse me.
On the what?
On the fan. on the I cough in my throat. Joining us here on the fan. Do you see a situation though, Mike, where if there's an early first quarter sack or a tackle for loss or Micah gets involved in something where there could be some extra emotions, whether it's from Micah or whether it's from the Cowboys O-line, or maybe there's a pancake block or they double team him and keep him away? Like, is there a situation where emotions could get a little out of, not all the way out of control, but just amped up a little bit?
I mean, I think it's certainly possible. I won't discount that possibility, but by the same token, say if Parsons does get in there and get a hit or a sack on Prescott, I don't see him necessarily like celebrating in any kind of a different way than he would, normally celebrate a sack or anything. I don't think I just don't get the sense that his mindset is to show anything or prove anything to anybody. I mean, the guy's a 3-time All-Pro and a 4-time Pro Bowler. I mean, what is it? What do you really have to prove? I mean, he wants to focus on helping his new team win a game, coming off of a game that they know they shouldn't have lost. And he talked about that as really being what his focus is. I mean, he stood in front of the cameras after the Cleveland game and basically said, hey, they're not paying me to jump offside, right? I mean, he took accountability for, the mistake that he made and what was his part in that loss. And I just get the sense that he's way more focused on that than he is about the emotions.
I love that. And that is, I mean, that's whenever you're in it and you're playing the games and you're going to practice and all those things. I mean, the noise kind of starts like floating out, right? And it's just like, we're going to go play ball. He's played in that stadium so many times. Like, I can't wait to see him on that turf again. I mean, he is going to fly, and like he is a different animal when he plays in that stadium. So it's going to be fun to see him as well. I was thinking about when you said Kenny Clark and like Elton Jenkins and some of those interior guys, they're going to actually they're going to see how strong Kenny Clark is for real, because like practice Kenny Clark, first game Kenny Clark is a different animal. So they're going to have to, they're going to actually see the strength of Kenny Clark come Sunday evening.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the one guy who knows him better than anybody is Elton Jenkins. I mean, those guys have gone at it in practice for, 6 years or whatever it was that, that Elton's been here before Clark ended up getting traded. So those guys know each other really well. There's probably going to be some mental games in there. I don't know necessarily if there'll be the trash talk between those two. They don't, neither one of them strikes me as
they're not big trash talkers,
as kind of getting involved in that kind of stuff. But there's going to be some mental games in terms of both of them going, okay, he knows I'm good at this and I know he's good at that. And you know what I mean? Like, and when you're right there in the trenches and those two guys know each other so well, and you're talking about going head to head for maybe 50, 60 snaps or whatever it might be. I mean, each guy is going to get his share of victories, and you hope for the Packers' sake that that Elton Jenkins wins those battles in the real crucial moments, the third downs, the crunch time moments and stuff, because that's what usually separates the wins from the losses.
For sure. Mike, before we let you go, we will do our picks here in the second hour of the show, but I just would love to hear what's your score, what's your pick for this Sunday night game?
Well, I definitely like the Packers to win this game, and I'm with you, Mace, as far as the offense getting on track, getting above, that 30-point barrier. I'll say like 31-16. I think the Packers can win this game by a couple of scores.
I love that. Yep. I'm right in line with you.
Let's go.
Yep. Right, Mike Spofford. You can find him at Packers.com. Good friend. We've had a lot of long conversations in the past, but awesome to have you on the Mason Crosby Show, Mike. And appreciate all the insight and sharing what's going on up there in Green Bay. And we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Mace. Good to see you. Thanks for having me on, and we'll look forward to it another time.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Awesome. That is Mike Spofford, Packers.com, joining us here on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. When we come back, we're going to take a quick pick. The NFL Hall of Fame announced its first timers that are eligible for the ballot this year. And we got it. We got a little Ryder Cup on the brain as well. So that's going to be, whether that's next or whether that's later in the show. We just want to make sure that the Ryder Cup is on everybody's radar, right, Mace?
Tomorrow morning, man.
Are you going to be okay?
I was trying to rank all my golf weeks for watching purposes, and I mean, honestly, Ryder Cup might be the top. Like,
I love it.
Like it's hard to say it's not.
I love it. Well, we got lots more to get to on the Mason Crosby Show coming up right here. We are presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers.